Dolphins season is still alive, just barely. Just barely still alive. And we had to beat the 49ers to do it. Look, their record, don't be fooled by the record. They're still a pretty talented team, even though unfortunately they are eliminated from playoff because of the fact that the Commanders pulled off a really improbable comeback against the Eagles, which would then cause the 49ers to be eliminated. But still, they were a tough team to beat. So, really, they can play against formidable opponents. They really can. Last time the Niners even been to the Hard Rock Stadium was that Super Bowl 4 years ago, when they lost to, Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs, which started their fantasy dynasty, which you would have way to put it. But in all seriousness, we then meet the 49ers again, for the third time in 4 years. Like I said earlier in the preview, 4 years ago, we beat the Niners at Levi's, with Fitzpatrick playing his best football. And then 2 years ago, since the Tyreek Hill play and then Jimmy Garoppolo ended up getting hurt, comes out the birth of Brock Purdy, who has since changed the course of the Niners pretty much in recent memory. And we had to play against Brock Purdy the entire game. And this time, we got our revenge against Brock Purdy, and we had to do that to stay alive, even in the playoff contention. And we beat the Niners 29-17. Wasn't easy, but it had to take a few field goals to stay ahead. And it all comes down to our defense to try to stop Deebo Samuel and George Kittle. But let us begin. Let us begin with this, as it starts off with a 3-and-out. With the Niners. And in a possession for the Dolphins, it ends off with a punt. So, it's start off slow for the most part. Tua's passes, to Achane, Mostert. Raheem Mostert is starting to get more involved in this, and I love it, because it's mainly Achane that's been doing more of the running thing. But then the more important part is that our offensive line has started to come back. Kendall Lamb's back. Robert Hunt, I think, is still in there. I think he played last game. I don't quite remember. But Terran Armstead is back. At least that's a good thing. But in this one, we end off in the punt. The Niners, same thing, except for the fact that their penalties, they're really hurting themselves with these penalties, especially when it comes to pre-snap penalties and the holding calls. That hurt the Niners in a big way. Finally, we talk about the scoring drive. Tua's pass short left for Smythe for 5 yards. 2nd and 5. Achane goes off for 7 yards. 1st and 10, no huddling, because it's still all this is still the first quarter. First quarter, Tua's pass short left for Achane for 11 yards. 1st and 10, Tua's pass deep middle for Achane for 20 yards. 1st and 10 for 20, Achane got nothing out of this one. 2nd and 10, Mostert goes off for a yard. 3rd and 9, pass deep left for Tyreek Hill. I think that was just tipped away for the most part in the end zone. But man, I didn't think Tyreek Hill played that good. I will agree with most fans. He has not played his best football this season. I don't know if it's the fact that the incident happened before the Jaguars game that's still in his head, but he was not his usual self, even with Tua, man. But we opened the game up with a 44-yard field goal for Jason Sanders, and that field goal is good. Niners does respond with their drive. Starts off at the 30. Brock Purdy passing it to Pearsall for 21 yards. 1st and 10 at the Miami 49 already. Deebo Samuel with 4-yard rush. 2nd and 6, pass incomplete. 3rd and 6, Purdy's pass to Pearsall for 5 yards. 4th and 1, they elected to go for it, and they did. Taylor does get 4 yards in. There was too many men on the field, so that kind of enforced that penalty. The too many men on the field, even though I feel like there wasn't. One of the defensive guys got off the field in time. You can clearly see it on the replay, but it doesn't matter. 1st and 10. Purdy's pass incomplete for Taylor. Except for the fact that when that ball was tipped, it was picked off. Initially, it was picked off. Okay, it was picked off by our defensive line. 95. I believe it was Jones. I have to double check real quick. No, I have to look at the box score just to make sure that I got this right. It was Benito Jones. There you go. Benito Jones was the one that picked off Purdy there, except before he was able to get that football possession, the tail end of the football did hit the ground first before he was able to gain control of it. So, yeah. Then it was incomplete. Now, McDaniel did challenge it. I thought it was a good challenge. I did think it was a good challenge. Because what is this? Is it secured? Is it something? But the ruling says as long as the ball was not in the complete. You know what I'm trying to say, right? When the ball is not on the ground long enough while there's control, that would be interception. But because it was on the ground, yeah, that's the ruling. So Miami loses the challenge. So it will be 2nd down. Which the next pass, it was incomplete. 3rd and 10. Brock Purdy does pass to Samuel, and Samuel just gets the first down easily. 1st and 10. Taylor goes up left for 9 yards, which would then end the first quarter. Shotgun formation. Purdy was sacked. You saw Zach Sealer just coming through to the offensive line and just dives down to get the legs of Brock Purdy, and Purdy does go down. He's a beast. You have to vote him in for the Pro Bowl, bro. He really is a beast. However, unfortunately, the very next play, Samuel goes in for the touchdown. Javon Holland just could not bring down Samuel. Deebo Samuel was playing with heart, okay? He was really playing with heart there. Moody's extra point is good. So we can get that done. The Dolphins' next drive. What the hell? Okay, Dolphins' next drive starts at the 31. There was a return for 32 yards from Malik Washington. Tua's pass is deep right. Excuse me. Tyreek Hill's passing for 24 yards. There you go. There will be injured Niner Floyd. Actually, he would return to the game. 1st and 10, Achane goes up for 8 yards. 2nd and 2, Tua's pass short for Jonnu Smith. And Jonnu Smith is just extraordinary. 8-yard pass there. 1st and 10, no huddling. Achane goes up for 7 yards. 2nd and 3, pass is incomplete. Just what are you doing there? 3rd and 3, pass short left for Malik Washington for 5 yards. Awesome sauce. 1st and 10, Mostert. Mostert goes up for 4 yards. However, penalty on Robert Jones for an offensive hold. Yeah, that definitely hurt us because we were in the red zone already. 1st and 17 now. That pass was incomplete. 2nd and 17, pass was short from Malik Washington. He does make this catch, but he just gets tackled by Warner at the 20. 3rd and 13, that pass is incomplete for middle, and then Jason Sanders has to kick a field goal to make it a 7-6 Niners game, and that field goal is good. 38. Niners next drive, 3 and out. And the reason why it was 3 and out, a few penalties, and we got Brock Purdy for a tackle. It would be a sack, but because he was over the line, the line, it's considered just a tackle. 1 yard loss, and a couple of penalties later, and then there was a holding on the receiving team, but we still get the football. Dolphins next drive, Achane goes up right for 7 yards. 2nd and 3, Tua's pass short right for Mostert for 13 yards. That gives him the first down, and Mostert monster his way through 21 yards through the Niners defense. 1st and 10, Achane only gets a yard. 2nd and 9, no huddling. Tua's passing it to Malik Washington for 19 yards. Great play there by Malik Washington. He was phenomenal in this game. First and goal now at the Niners 7. Achane goes up for 2 yards. Second and goal. Achane goes right for 2 yards. And third and goal, he makes history in his season. Tua's passing it to Tyreek Hill. This time Tyreek Hill does catch the football, and he does get a touchdown pass. That's only his 9th of the season. And PAT is good. All the PATs are good in this game. That is Tua's 100th career touchdown pass of his career. So congratulations to Tua Tagovailoa. Incredible. Well, I think he's the 4th Dolphin to do it. I think he's the 4th Dolphin to ever do it. To go up 100 passing touchdowns in the career of the Miami Dolphins. 4th player to do so. So phenomenal player that he is. Obviously trying to play with purpose. Shushing the haters. Because there are some haters that still despise Tua. I mean, I'll say it when I know Tua had a bad game. This one, he had a good game against the Niners team. He had a good game. Okay, he did. All right. The next drive, the Niners, Brock Purdy passing it to Kittle. Now we talk about George Kittle for 24 yards. First and 10, already at the Miami side of the territory. Jennings caught a 16-yard pass. Yeah, you're giving up long yardage. First and 10 after the 2-minute warning, though. Purdy's pass to Kittle for 12 yards. First and 10, Purdy passing to Purcell for 3 yards. Second and 7. Brock Purdy passing it to Purcell after the Miami timeout for 8 yards. That's enough for the first. First and goal. Samuel goes up for 4 yards. Second and goal. Purdy's pass was incomplete. And then third and goal. Somehow it's incomplete to Kittle. Chop Robinson put up the pressure. So with all that, I thought they were going to go for it there. But instead, Moody kicks a 21-yard field goal. And that field goal is good. And it will be a 13-10 lead for the Dolphins. And then there was 4 plays at the end of the half. Tua's passing to Jonnu for 11 yards. No huddling. Passes incomplete. And then Craycraft for 6 yards. And then they just let the clock go to 0 for halftime. So coming out of halftime, Dolphins does get the football at the second half. Achane to start off the third quarter for a 1-yard rush. Hang on, there was a penalty after the play for an unnecessary roughness against Hafanga. For a little bit of a shove from behind. I mean, you can't do that. That is not premature. And I think there was one instance earlier in the first half, too, that kind of was the same thing, but it didn't end in the scoring drive. So, again, Niners team is just hurting themselves with penalties. They're not debatable penalties. There really are hurtful penalties against them. What do you want me to say? So, after that penalty, it goes at the Miami 46, even though they only get a yard from the 30. So first and 10, Tua's pass was incomplete for Achane. Second and 10, passing short for Jonnu Smith for 8 yards. Third and 2, Wilson goes up for 6 yards. First and 10, Wilson goes up for 6 yards again. Second and 4, Tua's pass incomplete for Tyreek Hill. Third and 4, Tua's pass short middle for Tyreek Hill for 13 yards, but then that penalty for Brewer does bring back the freaking play. It is so ridiculous that it just keeps happening. And again, I'll say this again with the Niners, and now I can say it with the Dolphins. They're just hurting themselves with penalties. Okay? I'm not arguing these calls yet, but they are hurting themselves, okay? They're clearly holding them illegally like this, preventing them from, you're meant to block. You're meant to block and protect. You're not meant to hold and then hinder them from making a move, okay? That's against the rules. Third and 14. Tua's pass short left for Achane for 8 yards, and they only have to settle for a field goal. Fourth and 6. It is a 54-yard field goal. This was an interesting choice by the Dolphins, but Sanders nails this field goal. He nails this field goal, a 54-yard field goal, to make it a 16-10 game. Okay. So then now, the Niners come out. Brock Purdy passes into Samuel for 11 yards. That gives him the first. Taylor goes up for 3 yards. 2nd and 7. Pass short right for Kittle for 6 yards. There will be an injured Niner. It was Moore during that play. 3rd and 1. Purdy goes up the middle himself for 2 yards. That gives him the first. 1st and 10 now. Brock Purdy passes the middle for Kittle. Pass into Kittle for 28 yards. That's not great. 1st and 10. 2 yards is Taylor, but there was illegal formation, so that gives him that backs him up 5 yards. 1st and 15 now, so no play. Pass is incomplete for Samuel. 2nd and 15. Purdy scrambles up the middle for 7 yards. 3rd and 8. Purdy pass short right for Devo Samuel for 16 yards. However, another illegal formation penalty on the Niners, so that play will not count, and that first down was nullified. So it became 3rd and 13. Brock Purdy, incomplete. And then I think this is the game changer for really. 4th and 13. Moody's 41-yard field goal. He kicks it, and it was missed wide left. He missed it to the left side, and you can see Kyle Shanahan slamming his tablet to the ground in frustration. And what was supposed to be a 16-13 game still remains 16-10. So Moody missed it wide left, and the 49ers disarray at this point. So, Dolphins' turn. Mostert goes up for 7 yards. 2nd and 3, Tua's pass short left for Mostert for 2 yards. 3rd and 1, Tua's passing Tyreek Hill for 2 yards. Just get the first down. 1st and 10, Tua's pass short left for Achane for 12 yards. That gives him the first again. Tua's pass for Jonnu Smith for 22 yards. Awesome. 1st and 10, there was a terrible snap. I mean, yeah, another bad snap by their O-line. I know it says Tua, and he must have aborted it, like I said it is, but really, you got to have a better snap than that, bro. You really do. So 2nd and 11, Tua's pass for Jonnu Smith for 10 yards. And then, with that catch for Jonnu Smith, I believe this popped up. Here's what it says. Jonnu Smith, tight end, single season franchise record receiving yard receptions. If that's true, then congratulations to Jonnu Smith for a new franchise record with a tight end of the Miami Dolphins to get the most receiving yards and the most receptions. A really talented player. He needs to be re-signed. He has to stay here. He has to. He's from FIU. Anyway, 3rd and 1, pass incomplete for Tyreek Hill. 4th and 1, they settle for a field goal, even though it's 4th and 1. It was a pretty interesting choice, to say the least. Sanders kicks this field goal, and this is the PAT range, 33 yards. A 33-yard field goal is essentially a PAT. He makes this PAT. So anyway, the next drive for the San Francisco 49ers. Speaking of kicks, what the hell was that kick? That kick sailed out of bounds, and it was a penalty. So the Niners start at the 40. So Brock Purdy's pass short left for Samuel for 9 yards. 2nd and 1, Samuel goes up for 13 yards. That would end the third quarter. And the fourth quarter was so slow. I'll tell you why it's so slow. Injuries, which it's not their fault. Penalties and stoppage. Yeah. So 1st and 10 starts off with Taylor going up for 4 yards. 2nd and 6. Purdy's passing right to Samuel for 11 yards. Kendall Fuller got hurt during that play. So I really hope Fuller is okay. I don't remember if he came back or not. 1st and 10, Purdy goes up for Kittle for 7 yards. 2nd and 3, Taylor goes up for 2 yards. Another injury. This is the Niners now. Banks was hurt during the play, and then we go to a TV timeout again. 3rd-and-1. Niners get a first down with George Kittle pass. And another injury. This is Jordan Brooks, who got destroyed during that play. So he goes down, another injury in this drive. 3 injuries. 3? No, wait, yeah. What is it? 1, 2. Yeah, 3 injuries in that drive. That sucks. I hope all of them are okay. I really hope all of them are okay. So 1st and goal, Taylor goes over for a yard. And then 2nd and goal, Purdy's pass to Sawbert for 2 yards to make it a touchdown for the San Francisco 49ers. The PAT is good. And what does the Dolphins respond with? Smythe with the incomplete. Tua's pass to Smythe is incomplete. Tua's passing it to Smith for 3 yards. But there will be a penalty, once again, on the Niners for an unnecessary roughness. This is after the play. Elliott gets called for it. That gives the Dolphins the first down. Do they get it? No, because once again they hurt themselves with the penalty on offensive hold, Robert Jones, and then pass was incomplete for Craig Kraft, and then they just had to punt it away. Niners next drive, we held them. So not much to talk about in that drive, and then we can just talk about the Dolphins' next scoring drive. Achane goes up the left for 7 yards. There'll be a penalty again after the play. Lenore for unnecessary roughness for, after the play. And once again, the Niners just continue to hurt themselves with penalties. It's not negotiable. So anyway, Achane goes up the middle for 7 yards. Then another penalty. But this is more like a no play scenario because Davis for the Niners was lined up offside. He was clearly offside. 1st and 5, they accepted the penalty. 1st and 5, Achane goes up for 4 yards. 2nd and 1, Achane does get 5 yards out of this one, and then that would be a first down. 1st and 10, Mostert goes up for nothing. That was just a good defensive play. 2nd and 10, Tua's pass short left for Achane for 7 yards. And then 33, Mostert just gets run into a wall by Flanagan and fouls. And I don't know what that run was. So once again, they settle for a field goal. They have settled for a field goal. And this is 2 minutes and 10 seconds left. I will say this, though. The mission was to milk down the clock. And then also you have to score a touchdown. They didn't score a touchdown. They only settled for a field goal. That field goal is good, which I think he broke his record with 23 consecutive field goals, if I'm not mistaken. Let me see real quick. I think he did do that. Yeah, 23 consecutive field goals. That is a franchise record, apparently so. So anyway, that is a 22-17 lead for the Dolphins. The next drive for the Niners, Purdy's pass deep for Jennings for 17 yards at the 47-yard line after the 2-minute warning. The very next play after the 2-minute warning, Purdy's pass was intended for Jennings, but that ball was so poorly thrown. Kader Kohu's easiest interception probably in his career. Kohu picks off Purdy. And then he was stopped right there. He did run some yards, but apparently after he was picked off, the foot of Jennings or Campbell was right there when he was on the ground. But either way, we got the football back. And our mission at that point is to get the first down. Did they do it? Well, Achane goes up for 8 yards. And then Elliott would get hurt after that, but they had to call a timeout anyway. They didn't want to do it for the injury. They had to do it because they need the chance to get the football back. 2nd and goal, Ingold gets the first down, and I'm thinking, this is awesome. The game is over. All they need to do is just run the football, force the Niners to call their final timeout, and then run the football milk as much time as they possibly could. And it's at the 50-yard line. Well, The mission was successful. However, you don't mind doing a insurance touchdown, right? And that's exactly what Achan did. That's exactly what Achan did. He runs to the house. From the 50-yard line to the house is Achan, and he scores a touchdown to make it a 29-17 game for the Miami Dolphins. And that would be the final score. The Niners would make their last-ditch efforts with 1:36 left. Birdie's pass was complete for Jennings. Brooks fortunately did return in the game, so that's good. 2nd and 3, no huddling. They're forced to huddle. They can't huddle. That goes up for 16 yards. With Birdie scrambling for 16 yards all the way at the Miami 47. Birdie's pass was incomplete for Taylor. 2nd and 10. Birdie gets sacked by Chop Robinson. You know his signature. A little chop at the sideline. That was awesome. 3rd and 17. Birdie's pass to Samuel was for 27 yards, unfortunately. 1st and 10. You have to spike it. 2nd and 10 now. Birdie's pass short right for Kittle for 9 yards. 3rd and 1. You have to spike it there. 4th and 1. You have to go for a touchdown if you're the Niners to have yourself a chance. And they just couldn't do it. It was intended for Taylor, and they just couldn't do it. All you have to do is take the knee, and the Dolphins win this game. And they are 7-8 of the regular season. The season is still alive, believe it or not, folks. They are still alive for playoffs. So we'll look at the team stats. 22 first downs, 20 for the Niners. 381 total yards for the Dolphins. 215 passing yards for the Dolphins. The biggest difference for us is our rushing. Our 166 rushing yards in the entire game. Niners, 293 in passing. They have 374 total yards with 293 passing, 81 rushing. The rushing was a big difference for the Miami Dolphins, especially when it comes to Achan and Mostert. They were absolutely fantastic. Penalties, 11 for 90 for the Niners. That was not good for them. Turnovers, 1 turnover, and that was that Kader Kohou interception against Brock Purdy. No turnovers for the Dolphins, despite the 1 fumble. And pretty clean. 66,000 came to that game. And a lot of them were Niners fans, too. They travel well, the Niners fans. And then, when we look at the box score, Brock Purdy, 26 for 40, 313 yards. However, a couple of sacks, losing 20 yards, hurt him. And meanwhile, Tua didn't even get sacked once, by the way. He did not get sacked once, nor did he throw a pick like he threw 4 picks last game. He did throw a touchdown pass to Tyreek Hill. That was his 100th in his career. Achan with 50. None of the Niners players went as far as 20 for the rushing game. The longest was Brock Purdy with 16 yards. That was towards the end of the game. But Mostert, 21 long, that make the big difference. Jeff Wilson, former Niner, by the way, as well as Raheem Mostert. And then receiving, Achan's doing his thing. Jonnu Smith, absolutely terrific. Tyreek Hill, okay. He didn't play that great, but he does have a touchdown pass. Not the case for the receivings for the Niners. Their receiving was definitely a little bit better. That's why I said the rushing was a little bit of a game changer for the Dolphins. Deebo Samuel got that touchdown pass late in the little bit in the second quarter, actually early in the second quarter. And that was when Javon Holland just could not make the tackle. And then of course you got Saubert in the fourth quarter to start off the fourth quarter as well. And then of course interceptions. That was a big difference. Was Kader Kohou. Kader Kohou won the game for us. And that's pretty much all she wrote. The next game is against the Cleveland Browns. It's a 4:05 kickoff at the Cleveland Browns Stadium. I believe the stadium is called Huntington Bank Field. 53 degrees in that game. 53 degrees in that game. Not bad. Tolerable weather. But it might be raining. That's what they're saying. It might be raining in that game. And then, of course, the final game is the Jet game at MetLife. I don't know what the weather will be like. Honestly, right now, it is cold as fuck up here. It is so cold up here. But we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. As of right now, we're 7-8. Here's what the playoff will look like. Okay. So in order for us to make it to the playoffs, this is the perfect world. The perfect world, okay? This is the Bengals situation as well, okay? Cincinnati Bengals. So the Cincinnati Bengals, like I said in the preview, has to play the Denver Broncos in Week 17. So, Week 16, my bad. Now I'm totally confused. Either way, they play the Broncos next game. So the Bengals must win that game to stay alive in the playoffs. But so does the Miami Dolphins. But the Bengals, they got a little bit of a tougher situation. They play the Broncos next. And the Colts, they got the Giants next game. The Dolphins, I already just pointed out, they have the Browns next game. They have the Browns next game in Cleveland. Okay, playing against Cleveland is not that difficult. Okay, they're not that good. They have not been good for a long time, and I feel terrible for Browns fans. I really do feel terrible for them. They've been through a whole lot. They really have been through a whole lot. But this is a situation. Baltimore has clinched playoffs. They have clinched playoffs, so nothing to rely against the Ravens. However, for the Broncos, the Chargers, and the Colts has to lose one of two games now. They beat the Titans in this game, albeit a pretty darn good game, but we need the Colts to lose at least one. The Broncos and the Chargers, well, I'm looking at mostly the Broncos, okay? They have more of a tougher situation than the Chargers, okay? The Chargers have the Patriots next. And I believe they got the Raiders to end the season. Let me double check real quick. Yes, they got the Patriots on Saturday. They go to Gillette Stadium. So for some reason, if they lose against the Patriots, maybe we might have a different conversation. But I'm looking at the Broncos. All eyes are on the Broncos because they have a tougher schedule. They have the Bengals. And they end the season with the Chiefs. And the Chiefs, paying the referees, they always win. So I don't know what's going to happen. If they lose, we must capitalize. It will not be easy. In the perfect world, when this all happens in our favor, we got to help ourselves too. Okay? We need to help ourselves as well. But yeah, that's pretty much it. That's pretty much it for this recap. Either way, that's going to do it. If you like this video, hit the like button, subscribe for content because Miami TVG has you back. And when he does, hit me right there with the free entertainment you deserve. This is Miami TVG signing off, folks. I'll see you guys later on for the Panthers recap. Good night, everybody.